Someone asked me a question. I could share that question with you if I go through the comments and I might see it. I might share it with you. Will that spirit leave the narcissist? So, will those spirits leave the narcissist? Now, the narcissist sold their soul so many years ago. They either sold their soul or they lost their soul so many years ago. A narcissist has opened up some portals. And these spirits have come and demonic spirits have come in and taken over their life. So they do not have any control of themselves anymore. They don't have no more control of their soul. So which means that the spirits have overpowered their soul. So when a person says that somebody lost their soul, that means that the soul is there, but the soul is like dormant. It's not active. It is not in charge. There is spirits that have come in because they found an open portal and they walked into that vessel, and now they're the ones in charge of controlling that narcissist life, whatever they do. So they start this evil behavior, doing things here and there, stealing, gaslighting, manipulating people, abusing, and stuff like that. They have now started to do exactly what the devil does, which is to destroy other people. Not only are they destroying themselves, they are on the way also destroying themselves and also other people that they meet. So they will destroy everything along their way. One thing you need to know about these demonic spirits, they are not going anywhere anytime soon. So for as long as that narcissist is still, young, powerful, they still have, the resources and stuff like that, those spirits are not going anywhere. So this pattern, for you to better understand this kind of pattern, how the narcissist pattern works, they are going to live all throughout their lives. I don't know exactly when they opened. Nobody knows when they really opened those portals. They are going to live throughout their lives doing the same thing again and again. It is going to be the same behavior. It is going to be the same pattern. The only thing that will change will be the victims and their subjects. That is the only thing that will be changed, but it will be the same cycle, going on in a different situation and scenario with a different subject, but they're going to be the same thing, going through the same cycle, destructive cycle. Now, this thing is going to go on for as long as it takes. It is going to go on for the longest of time. So there may be years. A narcissist, because you guys know that narcissist doesn't heal. The only thing they add on to their narcissism is like they may develop a new trick the next day, they may develop a new behavior the other day, but it's just going to be adding on to what they already have inside of them. As the time goes on, that narcissist will start to, their health may deteriorate, because you see, if you're living the same way as a narcissist does, then eventually there is things that are going to start happening in that particular person's life where their bodies will start to deteriorate. Because you see, the narcissist is the vessel. Now, as long as the vessel can move, can walk, can jump up and down, can run, can do this or can do that, then that vessel is always going to be used in different scenarios where they're going to come into people's lives to destroy them. So those spirits will carry on destroying so many people around them wherever they go. But the only time those spirits will be leaving or will leave the narcissist is when there has come a point in their lives where their vessels, which is the bodies, can no longer be a host for those spirits. It could be, for example, a health condition. They have gone through a very serious sickness. Maybe they have been hospitalized. They can no longer move. They are not mobile and things like that. So now those spirits cannot operate in that kind of body, because at the end of the day, they're not be able to go out there and start knocking around and destroying other people. So they are just in one place. They are like a corpse. It's like a walking corpse. So they are not able to go out and do that work that they were supposed to do. Now, if you have dealt with a narcissist, it is very obvious you know how destructive is these spirits. And we may be talking about a legion of them. I've actually done a whole video on this. As the time goes on, the narcissist is starting to age. They are now looking older. They already have white, gray hair. They are starting to maybe walk with a stick. They are starting to, they are struggling with different cancers. They are struggling with different body problems, health issues, and stuff like that. So they are no longer mobile, and they're no longer active the same way they used to be. They don't even no longer have the looks. So it's like, back in the days, there was these guys with the tattoos and the muscles and everything. But now it has come to that point whereby they can no longer hold those spirits. Those spirits can no longer use that vessel because the vessel is already in bad shape. But at the same time, those spirits need different subjects to abuse or different subjects to destroy. Now, the vessel that is supposed to operate with those spirits is already not in good shape. So now they are spending all their time in bed, sick, or they're in hospital dying, or things like that. Now, usually those spirits, they are going to choose or they're going to identify a different vessel. They may move on. I cannot tell you exactly where they will go, but normally it is going to be the closest person that has been around that narcissist. So it may be, for example, a family member. It could be one of their besties. It could be. So that's the reason as to why I want you guys to pay attention to this. Is the reason as to why most of the times when you are with a narcissist, you start getting infected with those spirits. And in most cases, for the most of you guys who are on your healing journey, you know this. You have been dealing with these spirits, and in most cases, you have almost been doing the same thing that narcissist has always been doing. So it's like you have been actually mirroring that energy. You have actually been affected by those spirits. Is why a lot of times people leave narcissistic relationships, and they are now thinking that is it them, the narcissist, because all the things they do, the way they think, the way they move, everything is like exactly what the narcissist used to do. It's because you have been affected by those spirits. Now, if something has happened to that narcissist who was the original vessel of those spirits, and that person no longer is mobile, they're dying, they're in hospital, even sometimes they have passed on and stuff like that, those spirits are going to move on to somebody else. I want you to pay attention to the person that was the closest to that narcissist. And I want you to pay attention, especially for the most of you guys who go to those funerals. If a narcissist has passed on and you've been on that funeral, I want you to pay attention to the person that appears to be hurt the most. So those are the ones making the loudest noise. They are the ones crying the most. They are the ones throwing themselves all over the place. They are the ones, it's like everybody is grieving or whatever they have. There may be family members or friends that are grieving, but there's this particular individual that is happening to be hurt the most. In most cases, there's a very big chance those may be the people. I want you to pay attention. It's just a matter of weeks or months or even years, you could start to see those same spirits manifesting in that particular person. So it is going to be a case where these spirits are going to move on to somebody else. They are going to identify a new vessel because they need a vessel. And it is going to be a vessel which also is in a similar energy like the narcissist. So it is a low vibrational vessel. It's a very low vibrational person. It is a traumatized person. It is a person struggling with something. It is a person going through things and stuff like that. In a completely low vibration, that is when those spirits are going to move on and attach themselves onto that person. And then the cycle is going to repeat. So if you have watched the video where I told you guys that you are dealing with a different, same energy, same spirit, different body, is why you see sometimes you are experiencing some of the family members that used to be with that narcissist. You are starting to see that same energy in those family members. So those are the people that have actually carried along with that spirit. But if there's a case where, for example, there is no family members around, maybe that narcissist was, they didn't have anybody around them and stuff like that, then the spirit can move on to somebody else and nobody knows where it will go. But it eventually abandons. And how do you know that this spirit abandons the narcissist? I want you to pay attention to that narcissist in their most vulnerable moments. Those are the moments where they are going to pass away. It could be, for example, on their sick bed. They are dying. They've been diagnosed with a different disease, a certain disease, and they are dying. They're on their hospital bed. In most of the cases, that's why you're going to see they're going to dump down their narcissism. So you may not see them active as they used to be. So they may sometimes start saying things like, calling for you. If you're the person who was the victim of that abuse so many years ago, they may start calling you now. They may start telling you things like, I don't know what really happened many years ago. I don't know what I was doing. That is the moment where they're coming back to their senses because that spirit is almost abandoning them and they no longer have the power. So they are now inviting most of their victims, not all of them, some of them, they will be invited. It may be parent, for example, they might invite you and you may go to that hospital bed and you're now going to start hearing very, very sad stories. They may tell you things like they never know who they were. They never knew what they was doing. They don't even remember who they were. They don't even know when they lost themselves, because at that particular moment, they are in their most vulnerable moments. They know that they are passing away. So it is like a place of no return. That is where normally you will see that those people have been abandoned by the narcissist. The spirits have been abandoned. The narcissists, the spirits have abandoned that particular narcissist. When you're going to see them telling you the most sorry stories you've ever had in your entire life. Is one, now you might see them taking accountability for all the things that they did way back in the years in your life when you was with them, the way they used to do to you, the things they used to steal from you, the way they used to abuse you and stuff like that. At that moment, they are very vulnerable. And they no longer have the power to operate with those spirits. So the spirits will start abandoning them eventually. And you're going to see them at their most vulnerable moment. So they might apologize to you, for example. They may tell you that, listen, to so and so, sorry, many years ago, there is things they did, or there is things they didn't know why they did them, because that moment they do not have that spirit within them. So don't be surprised if you have been called. You may be sometime be invited at the last minutes of the narcissist. Maybe even sometime in the last hour. They just have a couple of hours to leave. You don't be surprised if they have invited you over. They tell you something like your parent is in hospital, they are dying, and the things like that. You only go there and only to be confused to what that particular parent, the things that will tell you. You are now seeing this soul of this little child, a 5-year, 6 or 7-year-old kids. Even sometimes you cannot make sense of what they are saying or the things they are doing. They are like pretending, or not pretending, they are like doing things similar to a 5-year-old or 6-year-old child. They're like a baby. They are very vulnerable. It is like they are reached their last minute, whereby they no longer have the power to control anybody around them. So that is when you know that those spirits have actually left that narcissist. They could be operating in a different body, because when that vessel is no longer in position to be used as a vessel, then those spirits are going to move on to somebody else. Now, what they are going to leave behind is that very young, immature little child. Back in the days, let's say, for example, between 5 and 7 years, when that child lost their soul, that is what you're going to see. It is what you're going to meet at that particular moment. So you may be surprised as to the things the words that are coming out of their mouths, the confessions, and these may sometimes be very genuine confessions, because at that particular moment, they are recognizing the damage they have done to people, because now they have a time to reflect. You may sometimes see them struggling because they are dying, and they know that they are dying, and they are worried about what is going to happen on the other side. So they don't know what to expect at that particular moment, because they have done so many horrible things to so many people. But at that moment, they no longer have the power. Their time has come to the end, and those spirits are no longer in control of their lives, because they are now passing away. So, like I've said, pay attention to, there will be people in that narcissist's life. It could be their grandmother, it could be an auntie, it could be an uncle, it could be some of their family members, or it could be sometimes be one of their besties, the people that they spend most of the time with. Those are the people that are going to now embody that energy, because this whole thing is energy. I've told you guys, it's a frequency. So they're now going to embody that energy of that narcissist, and you may start to see those particular things that the narcissist used to do. You're now seeing them manifest into somebody else. That is most likely the person. They have chosen a new vessel. They have taken over to another subject, and they have chosen a new vessel that they're going to use to operate. I'm very sure that many of you guys, maybe not many of you, have noticed this. You now have the answer of what happens when those spirits abandon the narcissist. Okay, so let us know about this video. What do you think in the comment section below? You guys know I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll catch you guys in my next one. There's almost signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.